Hey friends, I'm Ashley and welcome to Ash's Cozy Corner. I was able to play Harvest Moon Winds of Anthos like 10 days early before it released. I literally cried when I got that email. Harvest Moon Back to Nature was one of the very first games I was obsessed with back when I was like 5 years old. I was so obsessed with it that I actually carried the instruction booklet around and lost so many of the pages inside. And when I found that out, I literally lost it as a kid. And yes, I still have that instruction booklet for proof that it only has like 4 pages inside of it. Harvest Moon was what got me started with cozy gaming way back in the day when cozy gaming wasn't even a thing. And I just remember having no friends that played games like that, and look where we are now. Cozy gaming is literally everywhere, and I am so glad that I can say that I started with it as a kid. So with all of that, now you can understand why I cried when I got the email that I would get to play Harvest Moon Winds of Anthos early. Honestly, little Ashley would be so proud. However, even with this being a literal dream come true, I'm still going to be 100% honest with my first impressions and early review of this game. And I won't share any story spoilers past finding the mini harvest goddess. That happens around 5 hours in game, give or take a little bit, so no worries there. Let's get started with my first impressions review of Harvest Moon Winds of Anthos. Real talk. I kind of didn't like the game at first, but let me say, after the tutorial bit was over and you do a few story quests and then unlock a crazy amount of stuff, the game gets so much better. I feel like I'm basically like this with every farming game I play. I just really need a few hours to get into the swing of them and find out exactly what I like and why I want to continue the game. Winds of Anthos just had a really long tutorial and I felt like it dragged on and I felt like there was no real drive with not really much to do. So that's why it started out slow, but I promise it does get better. First off, if you don't know the core of the game and what it's really about, here's the official description. The land of Anthos was a peaceful and harmonious land watched over by the harvest goddess and the harvest sprites who protected the inhabitants of Anthos from natural disasters such as storms, earthquakes, and the like. However, one day many years ago, Anthos experienced a severe volcanic eruption that threatened life on Anthos itself, and the harvest goddess and harvest sprites had to use all of their remaining power to keep the people and animals of Anthos safe. This left the different villages across the land blocked off from each other. Some unfortunate souls even got trapped outside of their villages and were unable to return. Believing that the separated villages and people would one day be reconnected, the harvest goddess sent out a bottle with a letter and a magic key, then fell into a deep sleep. Now, 10 years later, you have found the SOS the harvest goddess sent to the world in the form of a message in a bottle. With the help of your wacky inventor friend Doc Jr. and many others, it'll be up to you to revive the harvest goddess and the harvest sprites, as well as reconnect all of the villages of Anthos with each other. This is the story that you will be playing through when you boot up this game. This is pretty typical for a Harvest Moon, as every single one that I have played has included the harvest goddess, harvest sprites, and helping her to restore things back to normal. Honestly, this part is nostalgic for me, so I actually love that it's something we can always expect. You'll be playing to save Anthos, which is actually huge. This game is an open world farming game, which is really unique as I have never actually played an open world farming game before now, that is. So yes, that means I didn't play Harvest Moon One World. I actually haven't played a Harvest Moon game for a very long time because I personally thought the series was going very downhill, but thankfully, I think this game is a change in direction. With it being open world, it does come with some pros and cons. Open world means we have plenty of towns to explore, 5 different villages that I know of, places to fish, areas with different weather, and honestly, just so many hours of exploration. Some of the cons of this are that sometimes open world games can be pretty overwhelming to some people, and it can feel sort of empty. I'm not personally overwhelmed by open worlds, but it could feel pretty barren sometimes, so honestly, they could have made it a little tinier and just added more to the areas. I feel like that's a common problem for open world games, not just this one, so hopefully in the future, this can be fixed in future installments of any open world game. One thing that does help so much with the open world of Harvest Moon is that it does have travel points. Think goodness. They included so many travel points in this game. They're literally everywhere, and it doesn't take any in-game time to fast travel. Amazing quality of life for this open world, and it definitely makes the exploration more doable for sure. I can see pretty clear Breath of the Wild inspiration in this game, like the map marker, the fast travel shrines, and even the mini Harvest Goddess shrine being able to gift you more stamina and inventory spaces in exchange for a specific item, kind of like Hestu in Zelda, which I think is really cool. They also added a few really cool quality of life additions into the open world, one being able to search for any item you have found already on the map, and it will show you the exact locations of these items. This saves a lot of time, and I'm so thankful for it. One very annoying part about the open world is that you can't jump, and you also can't just walk down ledges. Like, at all. You have to completely find your way around and up hills, sometimes making traversing places very difficult and time consuming. You also lose stamina while walking and running. Yeah, I really don't know why they added that into the game. It is partially fixed when you get a horse, but it still doesn't help in mines or places that you can't use your horse. The customization really doesn't have much to talk about, as there really is none. You can change your hair color, eye color, skin color, and name, and that's about it. You will get new clothes in the future, but for now, that's all the customization. Having more than one village in the game does call for more NPCs, and to be honest, most of them feel generic, but some feel really unique. Specifically, the Bachelors and Bachelorettes of the game are all really unique characters. There are plenty to choose from, I think 8 to be exact. Don't quote me on that, but I immediately fell in love with Neil because he just reminds me of my in real life husband, Dusty, so that was cute. Each village brings a different vibe, and each village has different marriageable candidates, so wait to decide until you've found them all. The dialogue is pretty basic, but honestly, I didn't expect any crazy dialogue. The story does make up for that though. I haven't completely finished the story in Harvest Moon Winds of Anthos, but from what I've played of it, I really enjoy it. The cutscenes are really cute and bring in more NPCs than you think. It seems like it's going to take me a pretty good chunk of time to complete the story 100%, which is a good thing. That means more playability. There are some funny moments that bring some laughter, like chasing a chicken around, but most of the time you are trying to save the land of Anthos and open back up the villages so that spouses, family members, and kids can get back to their original home and loved ones after 10 years of being separated. The more you work on the story, the more you unlock in-game, like I mentioned earlier. With the story, you'll unlock more areas and villagers, fast travel, villager requests, timed requests, cultural levels, festivals, and more, which is definitely why I recommend getting through the early parts of the story pretty quickly. When first starting out, the farm seems really tiny as you only have a little plot of land. However, this does get better as you get access to multiple places to move your house and multiple plots of farmland. I didn't know if I would like this feature at first, but when I started using it, along with the fast travel, it works really well. The barn moves with your house, so your animals are always with you, and you'll be able to fast travel back to your old plots of farm and take care of your crops. There are also tools like sprinklers and others that automatically tend to your crops, so it's not stressful at all and just gives you the opportunity to have tons of different varieties of crops based on the weather at that specific plot. The animals tend to be like other farming sims: chickens, cows, horses, all of those cute little animals. There are quality of life things like being able to get free fertilizer from compost. Tall grass is everywhere in the open world, so you can get it very easily to feed your animals. There's a machine that auto feeds your animals. Honestly, everything about taking care of animals in this game is great, and they really thought about everything. The villager and timed requests can get pretty overwhelming and are pretty fetch questy, so I don't tend to do those that often. The cultural levels would be one of my favorite additions to this game. You can see the stars beside of the village name, and that is your cultural level. It's basically just a status that indicates the development of that specific village. You can level it by interacting with villagers, completing requests, things like that, and as you increase the level, more stuff appears in the stores, the landscape shape can change and even become better, and it just gives you a satisfaction and reward for completing things in the game. It's just an added bonus for playing the game and completing things in certain villages. So the mining in this game is bad. There's really no other way to say it. There are a few different mines in the game, but I'll just show the first one. It's basically just a randomly generated brown cave with a few ore nodes and big stones on every floor. It gets monotonous very, very fast, so I tend to stay out of the mines as much as possible. There's also the fact that random rocks can just fall on you, making you lose stamina, sometimes making you pass out and getting sent home to the next day. It's just very frustrating, and I hope that's something they can fix in a future installment because I just really didn't like going into the mines at all. I also passed out a bunch from just walking and forgetting that walking and running use your stamina, so I raged a few times when that would happen. There is a cool tool you can use in the mines by pressing B that will show you the location of buried ore and the ladder to go down to the next level, but that's about the only good thing about the mining in Harvest Moon Winds of Anthos. Fishing is cool and also fairly simple, as you just have to look for the fish shadow, throw your line out, and click it when they bite hard. It doesn't automatically reel it in. You'll have to pull in the opposite direction and then reel in, but the fishing is definitely a step in the right direction because unlike the mining, I enjoy the fishing for what it is. You can also use the map item finder to find fish you have caught before as well, which is so cool. Overall, Harvest Moon Winds of Anthos really is a step in the right direction for Natsume. The story, the graphics, the marriageable candidates are one of the main reasons I really like this game. The open world needs improving, but if we're being honest, I would love to see Natsume focus on a smaller world with a little more love brought to the NPCs. The graphics are really cute and the Switch version lags a slight bit, but nothing terrible. The menus are set up really nicely and everything is super accessible. Mining is just really bad, but the fishing is okay and simple enough. The animals are cute and you have a huge selection of wild animals to befriend. Being able to move your house around is something I didn't actually think I would like, but I enjoyed having the option. And even with leaving farms behind at other villages, it's easy to take care of due to sprinklers and other tools. The story lasts for a good amount of time, but you have additions like villager and timed requests and cultural levels to keep you playing even after beating the story. I personally have really liked what I've played so far, and they are definitely improving from the last Harvest Moon game that I played. I know a lot of you probably clicked on this video just wondering, is it worth the money? And I definitely want you to come to your own conclusion about that based on what I talked about, but I would personally spend $50 on this game, and I really hope others think the same, as I want to see this series thrive again. With Winds of Anthos, I think it can. Remember, if you purchase it, please give it a chance and spend a little time playing, as the beginning is tedious. After the initial tutorial section, it gets so much better. I want to know, what are your thoughts on Harvest Moon Winds of Anthos if you've played it already or if you've watched somebody else play it? What are some of the pros and cons that they could improve on? I'd love to know in the comment section below. Also, let me know if you have any specific gameplay questions and I'll be sure to answer those. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a cozy day and God bless.